think this one is about advice or looking outside yourself, which we've talked about in depth. Was how this all came about. This entire podcast came about. And if you recall, like for the longest time, they kept having energies coming in and asking me all types of questions. And it really is always the same answer. You have to fully love and accept yourself, and you have to go within, and you have to decide, you have to choose. And we all want that reassurance or that guidance or that confirmation outside ourselves now and then. But some people seek it so constantly and so consistently, they truly are not thinking for themselves at all. And they're doing themselves a disservice. Additionally, it's kind of like the lazy way out, right? Because it excuses them from ever having to take responsibility for their own actions, right? Like they don't ever let those consequences sink in. They're always like, well, if so-and-so didn't tell me or I did. No, you still had a choice whether to listen or not. And you have to take ownership of your own life. If you choose not to, you're going to get blown all over the place, and you can bitch and complain and blame it on others, but it's still your life, you're living, and the responsibility goes back to you. And that's been coming through again lately, and it's adults, it's not children. It's not like, not that we want children to learn how to do that from a very young age, where they start to decide and learn on their own by having those natural consequences. And it allows them to take ownership and responsibility for their actions and decisions and unactions and undecisions and so forth. No blaming them, no guilt, no shame, none of that, because that'll deter anything and everything. That's the killer of everything. But just allowing it to be what it is so that they have the luxury of deciding on their own, that they have the luxury of knowing how to think, right? How to utilize their own tool. Yet that's not what's been coming through. It's been more like adults that have been asking again. Like this morning, there was an energy that came through. It seemed to be questioning like a major life decision and was asking me. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding. And so I ended up saying something similar, like, you're really disempowering yourself asking me. I'm happy to guide you and steer you and give you my thoughts and opinions, but that's all they are. It's cheap, it's weak, it's copping out, having me tell you what I would do. What do you want to do? It's your life. I'm not living your life, you're living your life. So I could tell you what I would do, but then you could get pissy as all hell 6 months from now because you don't like what I like, right? And so then you want to blame me for telling you what I would do, and then you chose to do it. So see how it's a cop-out. You have to think on your own. What do you want? How do you want your life to look and feel and be? What steps and measures are you taking to arrive there? And it's not easy. It's life. It's not always easy stuff. But again, it was adults. It was adult energy that was coming through, that was seeking. And again, I'm not trying to say that we can't ask for help and we can't ask for guidance, but these energies weren't that. These energies were adults who, that's all they did. They were not capable of thinking on their own because they did not want to have any responsibility for their actions. They wanted to feel no consequences. They wanted to be able to give the ownership and responsibility for their life to someone else. It's your fault I did that, right? That's why therapists don't tell you what to do. They try to help guide you, and they try to help you hear yourself so you can decide on your own. being more of like a sounding board, because you have to take responsibility and ownership. You don't want to come back and blame them because you chose, right? It's like, come on. Very interesting. And so again, to me, it does always boil back down to the exact same thing yet again. Those people aren't fully loving, accepting, and honoring themselves. Because if they were, they would be able to get silent and go within and truly decide, like, what do they want? What does feel best for them? I don't know, I'm not you. My preferences are going to be different than your preferences. I could design a life for you that I love. And you get there and you're like, oh, I hate this. Well, you asked me to design it, so, right? Like, come on. It is that simple. I don't think people realize that's what they're doing. When you hear it in this funny commentary, you can realize, oh shit, right? Like, yeah. Other people's opinions are just that. It's their preferences. It's their opinions. Who cares? What are your preferences? What are your opinions? Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.